If you calculate the photosynthetic efficiency of standard field agriculture, outdoor crops convert around 1% or less of incoming solar radiation into biomass over a calendar year. High-tech indoor farms claim up to 500 times the yield per square foot not by altering plant genetics, but by converting agriculture from an area-bound, seasonal process into a continuous volumetric manufacturing problem. Stripping away soil removes a biological buffer that took millions of years to evolve, replacing it with an uncompromising feedback loop engineered entirely in photons, fluid dynamics, and thermodynamics. Chapter: The Geometry of Yield. To understand how a facility achieves 500 times the output of a field, you must break down spatial, temporal, and photobiological density. In conventional farming, land is measured strictly in two dimensions. A field of romaine lettuce sits under ambient sunlight, subject to diurnal cycles, weather disruptions, seasonal downtime, and spatial row separation required for tractor equipment. The crop spends half its day in darkness, and months out of the year sitting on fallow earth. Vertical farming abandons flat area for volume. By stacking growing planes up to 12 levels high inside a single building envelope, you instantly scale spatial efficiency by 12. But spatial stacking is only a fraction of the equation. The real multiplier comes from photobiological precision and temporal continuity. Outdoors, solar radiation spans a broad spectrum, much of which plants cannot efficiently absorb. Sunlight intensity fluctuates constantly based on cloud cover and solar angle. Indoors, solid-state LED arrays deliver target light spectrums tailored to the absorption peaks of chlorophyll A and B, focusing energy around red light at 660 nanometers and blue light at 450 nanometers. By maintaining an optimal daily light integral, plants operate at peak photosynthetic capacity continuously. Without winter, night, or drought, crop development cycles for many common crops drop from around 60 days to as little as 3 to 4 weeks. When you multiply 12 vertical tiers by 3 times the annual harvest frequency, and eliminate spatial downtime through automated seedling transplanting, the compound mathematical yield reaches 500 times that of an equivalent outdoor footprint. Chapter: Hydrodynamics without soil. Removing soil seems biologically risky until you analyze what soil actually does. Soil provides structural anchor, holds moisture, and hosts microbes that convert organic matter into ionic minerals. But soil is also a slow, non-uniform transport medium. It creates localized nutrient deficits, harbors pathogens, and forces roots to expend metabolic energy growing deep structural networks just to locate water. In a vertical farm, plants sit in inert substrates like rockwool, suspended over precision hydroponic or aeroponic delivery channels. Dissolved ionic minerals, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and trace elements are delivered directly to the root membrane. In aeroponic systems, high-pressure misters atomize nutrient solutions into 50-micron droplets directly onto exposed roots. This maximizes oxygen availability at the root boundary layer. In saturated soil, water displaces gas, starving roots of oxygen. In an aeroponic array, oxygen availability is virtually unlimited, driving root respiration and ion absorption. Because liquid operates in a closed loop, there is zero runoff or soil leaching. The primary path for water leaving the facility is plant transpiration. Industrial HVAC systems capture that water vapor from the room air, condense it back to liquid, refilter it, redose it with nutrients, and route it back to the plant beds. This closed loop uses up to 98% less water per kilogram of produce than traditional field agriculture. Chapter: Thermal and Energy Bottlenecks. Despite these yield multipliers, vertical farming has seen high-profile commercial bankruptcies. Understanding why requires moving past biological performance and examining thermodynamic reality. A vertical farm is less of a botany project and more of an extreme indoor climate management challenge. Consider the physics. Hundreds of thousands of LEDs generate immense sensible heat. Modern agricultural LEDs convert a significant portion of incoming electrical energy directly into sensible heat, often over 50%, even while efficiently producing light. Plants absorb the remaining light energy for photosynthesis, but they transpire almost all absorbed radiation back into the air as latent heat vapor. An industrial indoor facility can transpire thousands of gallons of water daily into its ambient air volume. This generates a severe microclimate failure mode. As air moves through densely stacked crop racks, boundary layer friction slows air velocity. Stagnant air pockets form, causing humidity spikes where relative humidity hits 100%. At this dew point threshold, plant transpiration halts, nutrient transport locks up, and calcium cannot reach new growth tissue. This causes tip burn, a physiological failure that ruins entire crop batches. To prevent this, HVAC systems must move immense air volumes through tight channels while managing sensible cooling and latent dehumidification simultaneously. Removing latent heat requires chilling air below its dew point to strip out moisture, then reheating it before reinjection. The operational calculation reveals the crunch: an indoor farm consumes significant amounts of electricity per kilogram of produce. Out in a field, sunlight and atmospheric wind mixing are free. Vertical farms trade free solar radiation for continuous electrical and thermodynamic management. Therefore, commercial viability hinges entirely on whether local electricity prices can compete against fuel costs, cold chain refrigeration, and seasonal price spikes in field produce. Chapter: Closed-loop autonomous control. Eliminating soil removes the natural biological buffer that smooths out environmental shifts. A minor drift in water pH, a pump failure, or an electrical conductivity spike can destroy a crop array in hours. To prevent systemic collapse, facilities rely on automated closed-loop control systems. At the root zone, sensors continually monitor electrical conductivity, which measures dissolved ion concentration, and pH, which governs nutrient bioavailability. If pH strays outside a narrow range, typically 5.5 to 6.5, ions lock out, and plants starve regardless of nutrient density. Automated dosing systems inject acid, base, or concentrated stock solutions in real time to correct imbalances before roots show stress. Above the canopy, environmental software controls vapor pressure deficit, or VPD. VPD measures the difference between the pressure of water vapor inside leaf tissue and the atmospheric vapor pressure. VPD dictates transpiration rates and stomatal conductance. If VPD is too low, transpiration stops. If VPD is too high, stomata close to prevent drying out, cutting off carbon dioxide intake and halting growth. Variable frequency fan drives, dehumidifiers, and light dimmers continually modulate spatial VPD across every tier. Multispectral camera arrays on automated gantries sweep the racks, detecting canopy stress and pathogen outbreak stays before they are visible to the human eye. The software transforms plant biology into a predictable, closed-loop industrial process. Chapter: The Operational Horizon. Indoor vertical farming proves that system engineering can decouple crop production from arable land constraints, topsoil erosion, and unpredictable weather. By optimizing photons, hydrodynamics, atmospheric vapor, and root chemistry, these systems achieve spatial production densities unmatchable in nature. However, this output requires intense energy inputs and high initial capital expenditure. Vertical farming excels with fast-growing, high-water, low-calorie crops like leafy greens, where short supply chains and zero water loss offset energy costs. But extending this model to calorie-dense staples like wheat, soybeans, or rice, which feed humanity, remains economically unfeasible because of the immense energy cost per delivered calorie. The engineering challenge comes down to a fundamental trade-off between land use efficiency and thermal energy expenditure. If global energy grids decarbonize and power costs decline, should vertical farming remain an auxiliary system for high-value produce in extreme environments, or should we begin re-engineering crop genetics specifically to optimize caloric density under artificial indoor physics?